If you have not watched the previous video, please watch it first. The link is available in the description or in the I button. All right, let's jump right into this explainer and explore how to find flow in absolutely everything you do. Okay, I want you to imagine something. You're completely immersed in doing something you love. Let's say you're skiing down this spectacular mountain slope. You're so in the zone that your ego just dissolves. Powdery snow is flying up on both sides of you, kind of like white sand. You know exactly how to move at every single split second. In that moment, there's no future, there's no past, there's literally only the present. You, the snow, your skis, your body, it all just merges into one single entity. Time completely vanishes. It's a pretty cinematic feeling, right? Well, this unified, super focused state of mind is exactly what the absolute legend Bruce Lee meant when he said, "Be water, my friend." When you're that dialed into an experience with zero distractions, you actually become a part of what you're doing. You just flow. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to cover the magic of flow, 3 strategies for flow, the multitasking epidemic, Japan's legendary takumis, and we'll wrap up with microflow and meditation. Let's get right into it.
First up, Section 1, the magic of flow.
So what exactly is this magic? The concept of flow was actually coined by a psychologist named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He defined it as this incredible state where you're so insanely involved in an activity that nothing else even seems to matter. We're talking absolute, distraction-free immersion. And the most fascinating part of his research, this state feels exactly the same no matter what you're doing. Seriously, whether you're a world-class chess player making a move, an ER surgeon in the middle of an operation, or a mathematician solving some crazy complex formula, the mental state of flow is completely identical. Moving on to Section 2, 3 strategies for flow. Now, you might be wondering, how do I actually get into this state? Well, you can engineer flow right into your daily life by strictly following 3 totally concrete steps. Step 1, choose a difficult task. Step 2, have a clear objective. And Step 3, concentrate on a single task. Let's break these down to see how they work. Okay, strategy 1. You've got to deliberately pick a task that pushes you just a little bit outside your comfort zone. It's all about finding that Goldilocks balance. If a task is way too easy for your skill level, you're just going to get bored and tune out. But on the flip side, if it's way too hard, you're going to hit panic mode and feel super anxious. The magic happens right there in the middle. When the challenge is just slightly above your current abilities, boom, that's the sweet spot. That is where flow lives. For the second strategy, you absolutely need a clear objective, but there is a massive catch here. You have to focus on the process, not just obsess over the finish line. Take writer's block, for example. If a writer is fixating on this huge, vague goal like, I need to write a massive novel in 3 months, they usually get totally paralyzed by anxiety. They'll start cleaning the house, scrolling the news, doing literally anything to avoid writing. But if they shift to a clearly defined immediate objective, like, I'm just going to sit down and write the very first word, and then the next, focusing on that immediate process kills the anxiety and sparks that flow state. Which brings us to Section 3, the multitasking epidemic. This ties right into strategy 3, single tasking, because here's a reality check. Multitasking doesn't actually exist. Yeah, you heard me. Our brains are really just frantically bouncing back and forth between tasks. A totally staggering Stanford study by Clifford E. Varnas proved that multitasking completely wrecks our focus. They had heavy multitaskers try to count red arrows on a screen while ignoring blue ones, and they just failed miserably. Why? Because their brains were trained to pay attention to every single distraction. In fact, trying to multitask drops your IQ by over 10 points, tanks your productivity by a whopping 60%, and completely blinds you to important details. If you want flow, single tasking is your only option. Let's look at some people who have really mastered this in Section 4. Takulis, masters of flow. Over in Japan, there's this incredible concept of the takumi. A takumi is an artisan who reaches such an unbelievable level of mastery that they literally become one with their craft. If we're talking about flow, takumis basically live there. Whether it's the amazingly meticulous artisans making kumano makeup brushes in total concentration, or a master ironworker, or a ceramicist, they bring nature and technology together in perfect harmony. They actually believe their materials have a spirit, and their only job is to flow completely with whatever they're creating. And honestly, this level of mastery is just magnetic. It's the exact reason why Steve Jobs kept traveling all the way to Kyoto just to learn from a porcelain takumi named Yukio Shakanaga. Jobs was totally blown away by the fact that Shakanaga would hike up into the mountains to extract his own raw materials. It's also why the legendary sushi master Jiro spent over 80 years perfecting his craft. In a famous documentary about him, you see an apprentice spending years just trying to perfect a simple, slightly sweet tamago omelet. And they don't get bored. Why? Because they are locked in to this daily state of flow, completely tuning out the noise of the outside world. All right, let's wrap things up with Section 5, microflow and meditation. Now, obviously, we can't all be world-class sushi masters, right? But that's where microflow comes in. You can actually turn totally routine, boring chores into flow states just by adding a little layer of complexity or a rhythm to them. For example, in Japan, an elevator operator doesn't just stand there and push buttons. She executes this incredibly graceful, almost song-like sequence of movements. She bows, she welcomes guests like a geisha offering tea. She takes this highly repetitive task and turns it into a moment of pure rhythmic joy. And get this, some of the most brilliant minds on the planet absolutely rely on microflow just to decompress. Billionaire Bill Gates, he washes the dishes every single night, and he genuinely enjoys it because he sets up these strict sequence rules for himself, like plates first, then forks, which turns a chore into a super relaxing microflow. Or take the Nobel laureate physicist Richard Feynman. When he was working at a supercomputer company, his brain was always running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So to rest his highly active mind, he found deep, genuine joy in just painting the office walls. Pretty crazy, right? But hey, what if you're still really struggling to filter out all those endless smartphone pings and distractions? Well, the ultimate training tool for building up your flow muscles is meditation. By consciously calming your mind, you actually start generating alpha and theta brainwaves. And biologically speaking, those specific brainwaves prime your brain to drop into a state of flow so much faster. And you can start this training today. It's super simple. Just sit with a straight back and focus purely on your breath. Now, a huge misconception here is that you need to completely blank your mind. Please, do not try to force absolute silence. That's not the goal. The goal is simply to observe. Experts say we have something like 60,000 thoughts a day. Just let them float by like clouds without judging them. To put how powerful this is into perspective, the 1988 Olympic gold medalist in archery meditated for 2 straight hours every single day, just to lock in this exact mental state before she ever even touched her bow. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. What activities drive you to flow? Seriously, take a look at your own daily rituals. Find that one process, whether it's writing, coding, washing the dishes, or maybe playing a sport that yanks you right into the present moment. Nurture that, and I promise you, you'll find a profound sense of meaning. Stay tuned for the next video.